So in this segment, we're going to be talking about unionists triggered, by being told the Northern Ireland Protocol is the best thing since sliced bread, and that really annoys unionists, says DUP Sammy Wilson. And the thing is, no one said the protocol is the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, he's strawmanning people's statements here. We know that the Northern Ireland's economy is actually doing quite well. It's recovered really well, and in part, you've got to put that partially down to the protocol, really. But yeah, Sammy Wilson's statements here are ridiculous. He goes, the DUP Sammy Wilson has said real economic vandalism has been caused by the protocol. Again, it's not true. Food prices are lower in Northern Ireland, as well as other things. I mean, it's ridiculous, the statements he's made here. It's after Mr. Martin told, Micheál Martin, the Taoiseach, told the BBC's Sunday morning programme that plan to scrap parts of the protocol would be an act of economic vandalism. We've heard from farmers that, scrapping the protocol would result in a massive increase in red tape, not a reduction, because Northern Ireland's kind of dairy industry is built in to, the All Ireland kind of system. It goes across the border several times. And it's not just the dairy industry, it's other industries as well. Speaking to the BBC's Good Morning Ulster, Mr. Wilson criticised the EU and the Irish government for trying to convince unionists the protocol is the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, they haven't, though. Even the EU have acknowledged there's problems, and I've never had a problem with properly sliced bread. Ridiculous. This kind of patronising attitude from both the EU and the Irish government is what irks unionists. I mean, you guys are a bunch of snowflakes and you're triggered then because you're getting triggered over nothing. You're almost told you don't know what is good for you. If only you would open your eyes and see that this protocol is the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, this man's obsession with bread is ridiculous. That's not what they're saying at all, but the protocol is helping Northern Ireland for the most part. Yes, there are issues, but at the end of the day, it's better than, you're doing better than you did before. Even if the Assembly were up and running, we would be opening the doors for these ministers who do want to implement the protocol. I mean, yes, because they are democratically elected by the people of Northern Ireland, and the majority of MLAs ran on a pro-protocol mandate. This to implement something we believe is destructive, but at the end of the day, the people of Northern Ireland decided it's not destructive. Brexit was destructive, but that still went through in the end. How would you expect any unionists whose views are simply ignored in the Assembly? I mean, you're not being ignored, though, are you? The EU are listening to you. It's just you're not in Stormont to really put your views across. Mr. Martin said if we look at any objective data, is now showing that the Northern Ireland economy is doing very well. Manufacturing is doing very well. Wilson claimed that the Taoiseach was focused on Dublin's interests. I mean, partially that's true, but he's the leader of a country. What do you expect him to be interested in? Northern Ireland. His interests won't lie solely in Northern Ireland. There'll be majority based in the Republic of Ireland. The country he's in charge of. Shock. In a statement, Wilson commented for Micheál Martin to grasp onto one or two recent manufacturing orders as a cause to celebrate the protocol is misdirected and exposes a fundamental misunderstanding, but he's not grasping into one. He's talked about the whole manufacturing industry, donut, not a few orders like for buses and stuff. Sinn Féin MP John Finnegan said Brexit itself has been a large-scale act of political and economic vandalism. Is true. According to some economic modelling, it's cost us around £5.1 billion just in the last year alone, 2021. He added the DUP's economic analysis around all things Brexit since 2016 have been shown to be very weak and flawed, and said the cost of living crisis and a lack of health service funding in Northern Ireland, compounded by the lack of functioning executive, is in itself an act of economic vandalism. And I've got an article on that that I'm going to discuss at some point soon. But he's right, again, the DUP haven't acknowledged the kind of crisis that Stormont is in. Simply keeping Stormont closed causes all sorts of problems. And that in itself is a case of economic vandalism. And if there are elections soon in Stormont, which I think could happen, given that Stormont isn't open, I think after 6 months there's another election. I think the DUP will lose a lot of support here, because this just feeds into what other parties can take from the DUP, which is you've kept Stormont closed, you've kept money out of the hands of people's pockets. Essentially, why should anyone vote for you? You're a bunch of clowns. So look, anyone who's making the argument that the protocol is the best thing since sliced bread either has no idea about the protocol or doesn't realise how great sliced bread is. But there are issues that you've acknowledged there are issues, and those things they are looking to resolve. But at the end of the day, Northern Ireland is doing very well. He's doing a lot better than a lot of places in Great Britain, aside from London, which is doing well because of services. But the simple fact is, the rest of the GB is struggling. Northern Ireland is not struggling, and there's a reason for that. but the unions don't want to acknowledge it. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, support the channel on Patreon if you can, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.